outdoor junkies, here are hikes open for the new year.
And an exclusive look at the man behind the downtown San Luis Obispo bar scene.
And a look back at the World Surf League qualifying series event held earlier this quarter at Pismo Beach.
Broadcasting from Swanson Studios, you're watching Mustang News.
Hello and welcome to Mustang News. I'm Maya Devore.
And I'm Lauren Kozicki. Here's a look back at this quarter's top stories. The Pismo Preserve opened 11 miles of hiking trails to the public earlier this year by the Land Conservancy. Outreach manager Jamie Creeth estimates the preserve receives 1,000 visitors a day, and that number is on the rise as word spreads, bringing even more cars to the Mattie Road intersection.
Certainly people are asking if we're going to add more parking, which unfortunately, due to site constraints, the parking that we have is the parking we're going to have.
The city of Pismo is working with the Conservancy to add a sidewalk under the 101 freeway overpass for safer pedestrian access to the trails.
Overall, besides some parking hiccups, we've had great positive feedback.
As for now, the Conservancy is encouraging visitors to park in public parking lots to avoid ticketing before heading into the trails, which will be open daily to visitors from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. to hike, bike, or horseback ride.
A new ordinance in San Luis Obispo County is allowing tiny homes on wheels in backyards. Reporter Cameron Ramirez has more.
Tiny homes are the newest phenomena in affordable housing that has hit SLO County. In order to qualify as a tiny home, the structure must be 150 to 400 square feet, be connected to a permanent property's utilities, and stay on its wheels.
In March of last year, the city was one of the first cities in the state of California to pass the ordinance that allows tiny homes to be placed in any single-family residence within the city limits. As long as you meet the 5-foot setbacks, you're qualified to put a home back there that you can use for a rental. Short-term, meaning a month, that's the shortest you can rent it, or long-term. For students, it's really a good deal.
SmartShare Housing Solutions, an organization that works to connect individuals looking to station their tiny homes with others who can provide backyard space, hosted a community workshop to educate the community on the guidelines surrounding tiny homes. General contractor Robert Worster attended the event to find out more about the local future of tiny homes.
The big awareness to me, though, is the change from the state entering into the whole picture, where it seemed like the city had a lot of restrictions in San Luis Obispo about having to be an owner to be on the property, living either in the unit or in the house. And now with the state mandates, it seems like that's changing to have a non-owner occupied unit, which could really open the door for a lot more.
Perks of living in a tiny home include reduction of environmental footprint and monthly rent. Executive Director of SmartShare, Ann Wyatt, estimated rent to be between $400 and $800 a month, while many locals pay over $1,000 for a single room. With new architectural layouts of tiny homes, they are more spacious and luxurious than ever at a much lower cost. New designs, including folding staircases on hydraulics, aim to increase space and usability. For Mustang News, I'm Cameron Ramirez.
For more information on placing your tiny home, visit smartshare.housingsolutions.org.
Coming up after the break, meet the Cal Poly alumni that took over the spot of Seven Sisters Brewery with an entirely new brew list.
Meals on Wheels gives me a chance to be totally selfless. More than the food itself, a lot of seniors don't have family. So just to have someone to talk to, just to say, hey, how was your day? That means so much more than a meal could ever mean. We have to look outside of ourselves to be that lifeline to other people. It's worth it.
I got some Oxy after I hurt my neck. First, I took them to feel better. Then, I just kept taking them. I didn't know they'd be this addictive. I didn't know how far I'd go to get more.
Opioid dependence can happen after just 5 days. Know the truth, spread the truth.
Do you want to retire like a champ? Just like legendary basketball star Uncle Drew?
Don't do him like that, Uncle Drew!
You're already acing the game. You've got your dream ride.
Don't be slamming my door.
Sorry about that.
You just did the same.
Gotta get the boys. Your dream vacation and your dream team. And now you can make your retirement just as legendary.
I get buckets.
Get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
This quarter, reporter Ella Gamelik got the chance to sit down with the head brewer of the newest location for your after-work drink.
Thirsty for a new happy hour spot? Well, you're in luck. Okanada Brewery has just opened its doors on Tank Road in San Luis Obispo. Head brewer and general manager Dylan Roddick has dreamt of owning his own brewery for 10 years and believes his team's approach will make his dream a successful one.
Putting our own stamp on it with new beers, new food, new renovations to make it a little more comfortable.
The brewery has taken over the space of what was once Seven Sisters Brewing Co. and has overhauled the beer catalog with batches handmade by Roddick himself.
There's a little more variety because it is smaller. I can do smaller batch stuff. It's not, big distribution. It's a little, and you can tell by seeing this place.
Okanada plans to build an all-ages community among its customers with raffles, live music, trivia, and stand-up comedy nights.
When we saw it had changed, we wanted to give it an opportunity, and we absolutely are excited we did. Like, kids had a great time. They pulled out games, and we sat. All the adults sat at one table, and the kids sat at another table, and everybody was really comfortable and had a great time.
And as for now, Roddick and the Okanada Brewery team will be pouring their custom pints 7 days a week with a special all-day happy hour on Sundays.
Whenever I bartend, it's always really cool to talk to the person being like, yeah, I made that. There's a good response to meeting the brewer and getting served by the brewer.
And I'm Ella Gamelik for Mustang News.
The brewery is located right off Tank Farm Road and is now open until 10 p.m. on Fridays and Saturday nights.
The International Center worked with students this quarter to host a free international food festival for the Cal Poly community. Reporter Katie Taru has more.
Students who are tired of run-of-the-mill campus dining got to try new foods from different cultures at the Taste of the World Festival earlier this quarter. Held in front of Campus Market, the Cal Poly International Center hosted this event for the 5th year in a row as a way to promote their diversity and inclusion efforts around campus.
We envisioned this event 5 years ago plus as an opportunity to showcase international cultures, foods here at Cal Poly, and just to celebrate all of our different identities and to support students who are here from abroad, scholars who are here, as well as our efforts in getting students abroad for study or international trips, service learning, etc.
Students were able to experience and celebrate these identities through recipes from around the world and different cultural activities. To put on the event, the International Center partnered with the Food Science Operations class, FSN 344, to plan what dishes would be offered at the festival.
I think this is a really cool event. I've never done anything like it. Just like the mass quantity of food that we have produced, we're aiming for about 750 servings of each, so it's a lot, and like all of the different intricacies that go into planning all of it and prepping and preparing everything. It took a lot of effort, but it was really cool to see how it all came to become what it is today.
The recipes served were proposed by students who wanted to share their food and culture. Then the food science class would create the dishes and serve them to the International Center in test runs to see which recipes were the best and which would be showcased at the festival. Students suggested everything from Spam sous vide to mochi cakes to pierogies. For Mustang News, I'm Katie Taru.
You can look forward to trying a new set of international foods at the annual festival next winter.
One man owns 13 bars and pubs in San Luis Obispo. Here's a look at his unexpected career path downtown San Luis Obispo bar scene.
I'm here outside of Frog and Peach Pub, which is one of 13 locally owned bars by businessman Bill Hales. I'm about to head inside and chat with him about his journey.
I actually started at Bulls as the janitor. That was the opening that they had when I was 20 years old. That got my foot in the door. I then worked my way to the door, bar back, bartender, and by the time I graduated, I was managing Bulls.
The summer after graduation, Hales originally planned on joining the corporate world, but his passion took him in a different direction.
Kind of had that epiphany that I think the bar business was my path, and I was actually, making pretty good money as the bar manager and bartending 4 days a week, and probably better money than I would have been making in the sales job.
Hales has even expanded his business ventures into states such as Nebraska and Mississippi, but he's rooted in San Luis Obispo.
I think, the lesson is just to kind of keep it in your backyard. And so we've since got out of some of those at too far of a distance and just focused because there's plenty of opportunity to keep me busy here for the foreseeable future.
This year, Hale celebrated his 25th year of owning Frog and Peach Pub and has future plans for further local business ventures.
Bulls and McCarthy's have been here for 70 and 80 years, so the fact that Frog and Peach is kind of considered in that world, I'm really proud of that.
For Mustang News, I'm Cameron Ramirez.
Keep an eye out for more local businesses opening up in the near future.
Coming up after the break, more on the winter highlights of the Mustang sports season.
Titans go! When the Teen Titans go to the movies, they know the best way to travel is safely. To keep your child safe, be sure to use the right car seat for their age and size.
Exactly.
Hollywood, here we come! The Atom has arrived! Have a seat, my dude.
For more information on finding the right seat, visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Impressive.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Awkward. I'm the awkward silence. You try to avoid me, then there I am again.
But an awkward silence can be a great thing.
Like Kelly here is about to demonstrate.
You haven't really been yourself lately. Are you okay?
Find out how you can help a friend with their mental health at seizetheawkward.org.
Hello and welcome back. I'm Elika Melik with the sports. Last month, Cal Poly's own Maya Devore had the opportunity to try out for the collegiate women's volleyball national team. Reporter Evan Pettingill has a chance to talk to her about it.
Cal Poly volleyball star Maya Devore will be representing the United States this summer after a weekend-long tryout in Colorado last month.
I was there with probably a couple hundred, over 200 girls from all over the country to make a few roster spots. It was insane. As much as it was always like a dream of mine, I never really thought that it would be a reality until the success that I saw this year in my playing season, and then when my coaches asked if I wanted to go to the tryout, and then when I eventually stepped onto campus at the Colorado Olympic Training Center.
The tryout process was designed in waves. Each wave would practice at a certain time, and the majority of the time was spent playing scrimmages.
I was trying really, really, really hard to not have expectations and put that on myself because, you know, it can get in your head and make you think about things that aren't important. But coming out of it, I had a good idea that I was going to make a team.
After not seeing any playing time in her first 2 seasons at Cal Poly, Devore is now fulfilling her lifelong dream of wearing the red, white, and blue on the court.
For me, it means a lot of just a lot of work that I thought, you know, went unnoticed or maybe didn't matter, you know, the ups and downs and the challenges along the way, that it all mattered and that it was all worth it. And every time I drove to Sacramento 2 hours to go to club practice got me to being able to have the opportunity to represent my country in the sport that I love.
Devore will head down to Anaheim this summer to practice with the U.S. Women's Olympic team and help them prepare for Tokyo. For Mustang News, I'm Evan Pettingill.
Devore still has one more year of eligibility at Cal Poly, so you can plan on seeing her on the court next year. Reporter Maya Devore also met up with a few players from the Cal Poly baseball team to hear about how their 2020 season is progressing.
The 2020 season is on the horizon for the Cal Poly Mustangs baseball team, but their roster might be noticeably smaller than previous years. With 7 players not returning this season, not including those that graduated, their team will undoubtedly look different come spring. But third-year sociology major and pitcher Dylan Villalobos isn't worried about the loss of players.
We have that real core group of guys that we know want to be there now. We've kind of like shed the weak guys and they're gone, so we're ready to go.
The Mustangs capped off their 2019 season with a 17-7 record, putting them in third place in the Big West behind the UCSB Gauchos and the UC Irvine Anteaters. Third-year pitcher and business finance major Matt Ahrens is hoping to change that this season with the group of guys who still call Cal Poly baseball home.
Obviously, we want to win the Big West and play in a regional and hopefully make it to a World Series. I mean, that's the ultimate goal. We have a lot more younger guys, I think, that are going to step up and really help compete. Then we have a lot of returners from last year who are also going to fill that role, so I think it's going to be fun.
With the loss of returners, Villalobos emphasized the need for the whole team to step up to accomplish their goals for this season.
I think it's going to take every single guy this year, whereas in previous years we've kind of had overloads of guys, so a lot of guys didn't get used, but this year I think everyone will be used.
The Mustangs are currently 5-11 on their 2020 season and are looking forward to a long stretch of upcoming home games against Oklahoma, San Diego State, and Stanford. For Mustang News, I'm Maya Dvorchak.
You can catch the Mustangs in action in their next home games against Oklahoma on March 12th, 13th, and 14th. Coming up next, see how star dual sport athlete Tori Van Winden almost had her volleyball career come to an end.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin? Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies.
Selfies.
Nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
Maria, so how's work?
It was fourth period biology. Our students just weren't getting how easily viruses spread. So Miss Bella and I had them role play a zombie virus outbreak. By the time they had all learned the lesson,
they can't hear us.
All the living were dead. Hey, how's your job going?
That big sales meeting I planned? Next year, I might get to go.
Cool. See on page 4 that the projections need to be earthquake next Thursday.
Seriously? Thursday? Can't do that.
This is really inconvenient.
I have yoga that day. I have no time for this. So. I can't do Thursday, but I can do Friday.
Disasters don't plan ahead. You can. Talk to your loved ones about how you're going to be ready in an emergency. Don't wait. Communicate.
Tori Van Winden played on the indoor volleyball team and is currently playing on the beach team. She just returned to playing volleyball a few months ago after dealing with severe concussions. Reporter Evan Pettingill was able to find out more.
I grew up in a volleyball environment. I grew up strapped to my mom's chest or back when she was the head coach at Sonoma State University. And even before that, when I was even littler, we were constantly at the beach because she was playing on the AVP.
Tori's life was volleyball from before she can even walk, but a concussion the week of the 2018 NCAA tournament removed her from the sport she loved for over a year.
And the thought process was, okay, well, I'm going to do everything I can to get into beach. And then I got into beach and I had an episode of terrible migraines, and that set me back 6 months.
With beach volleyball out of the picture for 2019, she looked to her last collegiate indoor season to restore hope of getting back on the court.
And then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do everything I can to be there for next indoor season. And when that didn't happen during double days, that was super off-putting, obviously. And then it was, I want to play at Hawaii. I want to be able to make the timeline to play at Hawaii. And I didn't reach that one. So there's 4 goals that are unmet. And for me, not meeting goals is foreign.
Despite not meeting her initial goals, Tori was able to play in her last 2 indoor volleyball games in the 2019 NCAA tournament.
I've never been oh, well, volleyball is just not my thing anymore. This is just all the steps that's making me stronger than my opponent come the time that I am going to be on an Olympic podium.
Van Winden is now fully cleared, and the number 5 ranked Cal Poly beach volleyball team have had a strong start to the season and look to continue their success. For Mustang News, I'm Evan Pettingill.
You can watch Van Winden and the rest of the beach volleyball team play on March 21st at the new beach volleyball complex. And that's all we have for you with Mustang Sports for this winter quarter. Now back over to Lauren and Maya.
Earlier this quarter, the nonprofit Surfers of Tomorrow hosted a World Surf League qualifying series at Pismo Beach. Reporter Jack Birkenfield has more.
On the first weekend of February, surf fans from around the Central Coast packed the Pismo Pier to watch the SoCal Open, one of the only home events for California's professional surfers.
This is our third year in Pismo Beach hosting a World Surf League professional surf contest. We have space for 88 men and 40 women competing this year. Yeah, it's very important for most California young professionals. They don't have a lot of access to events in their home state, so we're providing a valuable WSL event for them where they could earn some money and some valuable QS points that normally they'd have to travel out of state to get.
QS points, points from a qualifying series event, are vital for surfers looking to advance to the World Surf League Championship Series events, where they can earn more money and have a better opportunity to impress potential sponsors.
It just makes it easier when there's guys like Andy, McKay trying to help everyone out and keep things moving in California, because it's been moving to different locations that are a lot harder for us to get to.
Surfers representing 12 countries were scored out of 10 for each wave they rode, and the highest two scores were used to determine a surfer's final score. The top two competitors from each heat then moved on to the next round of competition, ultimately leading to a two-person showdown to see who would be crowned champion. 14-year-old Sawyer Lindblad was the women's champion.
Yeah, I'm speechless right now. I can't believe, I was not expecting this at all. Yeah, I've been working so hard, so it just really feels good to have it pay off.
And Kevin Schultz, a previous SoCal Open runner-up, took the men's competition.
Yeah, I've looked up to Brett since I was a little kid, and I think he had a couple titles from the U.S. Open before I even started surfing, so it was just a pleasure to share the final with him. It's awesome.
It's wonderful for the Central Coast surf community to have opportunities like this so close to home.
The first weekly Parkinson's Wellness Recovery exercise class has been introduced into the San Luis Obispo community. Reporter Mustang News Cameron Ramirez has more.
A new physical therapy office has opened in San Luis Obispo and is now offering Parkinson's Wellness Recovery classes, also known as Power Moves. While the Parkinson's community in San Luis Obispo is prevalent, Parkinson's-related exercise classes are not. Physical therapist and Power Moves instructor Kristen Carlis explains the lack of accessibility in the San Luis Obispo area.
There were a few classes that were offered, but maybe once a month or once quarterly. And really, people with Parkinson's disease need to have consistent exercise. So we decided to make it a twice-weekly class so that there was always an opportunity.
Many of the movements are focused on helping patients better perform tasks such as getting off the floor and rolling over in bed.
So Power Moves are a series of exercises geared towards helping people with Parkinson's disease. And basically the idea behind the class is to increase amplitude of movement, get them some exercise with some intensity, which helps slow the progression of Parkinson's disease, as well as give them kind of a support group and something that they can participate in on a regular basis.
As someone who has Parkinson's, William Gayhafer has been attending these classes since the beginning and credits the weekly consistency to his improved gait and balance.
It's helped me with my freezing of gait. It's helped me with my turning. I've had problems turning around and moving my feet periodically, so it helps with that a lot.
Power Moves attendees range from all ages and abilities and are offered every Tuesday and Thursday from 12 to 1 p.m. Beginning next month, Power Moves classes will be free on Tuesdays for anyone looking to try it out. For Mustang News, I'm Cameron Ramirez.
Classes are $15 per person or bring a friend for a 2 for $20 deal. For more information about the classes, visit precisionptw.com.
Imagine a coffee that has all the boost but none of the jitters or the crash. Well, that dream is becoming a reality. Stay tuned to find out how.
Leaving hot coals improperly extinguished can cause a wildfire.
Hey guys, it's Smokey!
It looks as if Smokey is going to use the drown, stir, drown and feel technique. After the first drown, a good start. Next, another drink. And finally, a close feel.
Is it cool? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey Smokey, catch! Oh, my bad, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
I, Krista, take you, Jamie, to be my wife.
When we found out that we were pregnant, we were just elated. We were just sitting there waiting for the pediatrician. She said she won't be taking you in as a client.
we are a lesbian couple, but she's just a baby. She's the one you're denying the service to.
The newest innovation in coffee is hitting Cal Poly, and reporter Tessa Hughes has more on a unique way to satisfy your caffeine addiction.
We're food chemists to figure out what ratio do we need of cold brew coffee to amino acid blend to where you essentially neutralize the extreme effects of both. That's why I get the caffeine boost faster and why I get no negative side effects of caffeine.
Imagine that. Jitterless coffee. All the caffeine with none of the crash. Coca Coffee has been making its way across Cal Poly's campus since the beginning of the school year. The brand was initially launched at UC Berkeley in 2019 by 2 students, but was brought down to the Central Coast when Cal Poly business student joined the team. Mustangs have slowly been trying the brew to see how it compares to their normal coffee habits.
Compared to other coffees, it's definitely more effective at getting like an energy boost. I think Starbucks probably beats it for taste, but it's going to be tough to beat Starbucks. So definitely for energy efficiency, the best one though.
Since bringing it down to slow, the company is focusing on expanding their outreach. They recently struck up a partnership with High Street Deli, where they will now be selling the brew, which will soon be transitioning out of their small glass bottles into cans, which expands the physical volume of the product and extends their shelf life. When starting out, Gupta was selling coffee out of his blue cooler to students, but now he is doing everything he can, from tabling at Dexter to trying to get it sold in campus market so that students know the name CocaBrew. The company has even started a student ambassador program, which they have used to market their product while incorporating Cal Poly's Learn by Doing motto.
Really pride ourselves on about the ambassador program is that we're students, and so we're student-run companies, so we understand how hard it is to gain valuable work experience. And so at the end of the day, while we do have objectives and goals of the program, we're there to support you, because at the end of the day, we want them to feel like they have ownership and full autonomy to do what they're interested in and things that they can help build the skills and what they're looking to do for the future.
With Mustang News, I'm Tessa Hughes.
For more information on the science behind the brew, where to find it, or to order some for yourself, visit CocaBrew.com.
A private investigation into inappropriate behavior towards women in the congregation led to lead pastor Tom O'Leary resigning from his position. I sat down with a few Cal Poly athletes to see how this affects their teams. The effects of Mountain Brook's lead pastor Tom O'Leary's resignation has spread all through the San Luis Obispo community, including the Cal Poly campus. O'Leary was integrated into a few of Cal Poly's athletic programs, causing concerns for some athletes, including junior offensive lineman Nicolo DeFranzo.
When you think of like clergy, they're supposed to be like examples of leadership, right? And then hearing that he did something so like disgusting is like hard to hear about, you know?
According to sophomore middle blocker Meredith Phillips, the Cal Poly volleyball team was also connected to Pastor Tom.
The Cal Poly volleyball team had a pretty good relationship with Pastor Tom. He came to a few of our games, and he had talked to us like after the church services sometimes, and he mentioned stuff about wanting to be like our chaplain for the team, which we thought was really cool.
Phillips explained how those feelings changed after hearing the news of O'Leary's misconduct.
Just because the sport that we play, and how kind of our bodies are on display, it made me a little like unsettled to know that like if he was doing that to like other girls, like what he like thought of us, and if he had different like motives than just wanting to be our chaplain.
According to both athletes, neither program is collectively open to upholding O'Leary's role within their sports.
I don't want someone who's done something like that back.
We were all just kind of grossed out, honestly. Didn't really want to be a part of that or Mountain Brook or anything anymore.
For Mustang News, I'm Maya Dvorchak. Tom O'Leary and his wife Sherry have fully stepped away from both of their roles inside the church, and Mountain Brook has yet to name a new lead pastor.
That's all we have for you this quarter. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Lauren Kozicki.
And I'm Maya Dvorchak. We'll see you next time.